Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are discussing a 2021 TV drama, a 5-part TV drama, which aired in January of this year, written by Russell T Davies. Hard hitting, heartwarming, funny places, and sad in places. We are talking It's a Sin. With it's got a message, and we'll discuss the message as we go along in the cast. So we'll go opening thoughts on It's a Sin. Who shall we go with first? Who looks afraid?
Let's be afraid. Be very afraid.
We'll go ladies first. Susan, over to you.
Hi. Thank you. I love this TV series. Oh my gosh. I felt like Jill Baxter. My name is Susan Backstrom. It really, and I really do love and support all the gay men in my life. I think that they are the bee's knees. I really cherish my friendships with gay men, and Jill Baxter is one who cherishes her friendships. And the story of it's basically the story of Ollie Alexander and his flatmates who come from all over and all different walks of life, and who are young and in love, and they have a ton of relationships. It's very gregarious and super social, and it's sort of a commune. It's sort of a collaborative effort to live together, and it talks about all the things that they go through as they come together, and who they meet and fall in love with and stuff, and Ollie Alexander plays Richie Tozer, and then there's his roommates are Ash and Clive and Roscoe and Colin, and it's right at the beginning of the AIDS crisis in the UK. In fact, it's at the beginning of this show, at the beginning episodes of this show, it isn't even known by its affiliate name. It's known as GRID, or it's also known as gay cancer, which is ridiculous, but that's where it started. And so, it's really, it's pretty emotionally charged, supercharged. It breaks your heart over and over and over again. And I'll get to what those parts are. But yeah, that's my opening thoughts on It's a Sin. It's one tremendous TV series, and it brings me back to my mid 80s, late 80s, and early 90s life. So yeah, flipping it back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Susan. Let's go to Connor.
Russell T Davies for me is kind of up and down. I watched A Very English Scandal 2 years ago, which was his last drama before this, and I didn't quite like the idea of, in fact, no, it wasn't his last drama. We did one between that, Years and Years, which was very good. But A Very English Scandal, Hugh Grant in his toady kind of ball sacky face best, getting Vaselined up by a younger guy yeah, it didn't quite do it for me. But Years and Years was exceptional, which Lydia West, who plays Jill, was in it. So it was no surprise to see her turn up in this as well. But this was Russell T Davies' best drama since Queer as Folk, I think. Because this is going to win a lot of awards. If there's nothing that comes up between now and the BAFTA nominations, which I think that's next week. So it could well be the front runner. It's going to win a lot of British TV awards, especially. And the two that deserve it the most are Ollie Alexander, who is the front leader of one of my favourite bands, actually, Years and Years, and Keeley Hawes. And what happens with Keeley Hawes' character in this show is by far the most genius aspect. You would not think in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 that she had them thoughts and opinions that she fully kind of stewed in and engaged with in the final episode to probably bring up one of the most tremendous performances of her career. And I've seen her in a lot of good things. She's phenomenal in everything, but that is unbelievable. Especially the scene when she's on the pier and also in the hospital, all the scenes when she's in the hospital as well. Yeah, she's gonna get an award for this, hopefully. Because I think she must have known where her character was going when she first started filming it. And it must be difficult to know that you're going to, by the end of it, be such a reprehensible human being and have to hide that behind this kind of nice housewife, sort of caring for her son persona. And that just shows the kind of acting ability that Keeley Hawes has. But Ollie Alexander was amazing as Richie. Colin, I can't remember Callum Howell something. Callum Howell James, I think he was called. Great actor as well. I thought Colin was, for a large part, especially episode 3, was the emotional center point of this, because when he collapsed in the printing shop, I think it was a printing shop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was something to do with printing. And you saw him having the fit. You just thought, wow, okay. It felt very real. And then you watch an interview with Russell T Davies after it airs, and he says, everything that happened in that show happened to my friends. So it's very, very personal for him. He said it pretty much in the promotion and afterwards that this is the show he always wanted to make. Like this is his magnum opus, I guess you could call it. It's, even more so than Doctor Who. He went to great lengths to bring Doctor Who back, but he even more so for 20 years, 20 or more years, 25 years, I think he said, he wanted to make this show. And it landed because I'm, like I said, I'm not massively a fan of Russell T Davies, but this drama, yeah, this one was one of the best of the year. It will be difficult to beat this. It's probably going to end up in my top 3. I just thought that the whole cast, apart from Lydia West, I thought she, especially on the pier scene, she was a bit wooden, and it kind of felt like Keeley Hawes was playing tennis with a wall and acting tennis, and it just kept coming back to her, and she, it must be knackering for, especially because she put so much emotion into it. But all the deaths were just so traumatizing and sad. It stuck with me after I watched it. It's very rare that a drama does that, but it stuck with me for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's also got AIDS and HIV back into the discussion, and probably not so much in the US, but in the UK. it's a massive thing again right now. There's a lot of about how people go untested and stuff like that, and you know, it's uncurable. When you get it, you're stuck with it for life, and you know you can treat it now, but you'll never get rid of it. And you know, to think that actually the events of this show, I think it was 1981 to 1990. I think it was about
91.
91. So
Yeah.
about 10 years, wasn't it? That was 30 years ago now.
Mhm.
Only 30 years ago, this was killing people like coronavirus, like it was a plague. The medical advancements around HIV and AIDS has been huge, I think. And it's still, I think it's still, is it still one of the leading killers in men, along with suicide? I think it's, I'm sure I read that stat somewhere that it is one of the, even though it is treatable, it goes untested in a lot of people as well. And it is just a horrific disease. And Russell T Davies, what he puts into this drama and how he portrays it is heartbreaking, honestly. And it's just top form. 5 episodes of pure TV gold, and it does stick with you. So yeah, that's my opening thoughts.
We always let Connor go with the flow. Let's go to Craig and David.
It was a great opening from Sue and Connor, you know, really brought back all the images of watching that again. You know, Craig and I sat and watched it straight through. And I came down to London in '82. One of the times decided to stay, like, and I remember the John Hurt advert, you know, AIDS will kill everybody, that horrible advert, you know, like a big monolith that crashes down, you know, and it was like, it was so scary. Everybody was almost like the coronavirus now, as Connor was saying. People
David,
find to touch anything.
It mirrors.
Yeah.
David, that advert
Yeah.
was put on TV on children's television.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the advert in the 80s, Lee, and
Yeah.
I remember
I remember it, yeah.
a typical thing Craig would say would when I don't know how old I would have been, under 10 years old,
Yeah.
and I turned to my nan and granddad and said, I think I've got AIDS because of the advert, and then they were like, don't be silly, Craig.
Yeah.
But I mean, to put an advert on like that as well, I mean, it just
Before the watershed,
you know,
really, you know, yeah.
On the BBC.
and then,
BBC.
and then obviously you had people calling it an anally inserted death sentence.
Oh,
That's what they.
man.
But Russell T Davies. I mean, I love him, and I love John Nathan Turner, and I think he got a lot of stick for Queer as Folk because he was depicting like the parties and in the Manchester gay scene and that, and then there was a lot of people from the 80s saying, look what's happened, you haven't included us. And boy did he deliver. I mean, that was like saying, stick this up your windpipe. But what an emotionally, I mean, Jesus, I mean, me and my mum, we originally watched it and had to watch it in stages because every death that I witnessed was just, it touched the nerve because some of my friends are either positive or they've like passed away from HIV complications and stuff. So to watch that, it was, oh my goodness, I think it was the most emotional program that I've watched that I can't even remember. Even my mum said at the last episode, she said that was the most saddest thing I've ever watched in my whole life. But you know what? I hope they get some awards for this.
Oh, I think
because it is just pure. He is just a genius.
It was TV magic. It was just brilliant.
You know, to have, it's just the way he writes. He gets people together, and he has pockets, but you get emotional. He has that. It's the magic connection where he magic pot or something where you just get emotionally involved with people. Like Colin, I mean, he just worked at the printers, but I was just so attached to Colin, and that's one scene just threw me. I had to have a break. It was a bit too much. But yeah, it was just, yeah.
Some people can draw you into their world and make you see things. Some people go far out and come back with the messages from beyond, and they show people that haven't got that sort of depth of imagination to say, well, this is how it is. Luckily for me, I mean, my mum and dad were pretty cool people. Like, you know, we never segregated or any subjugation, anything, anyone, you know. Any loving's good loving, you know. But there was a lot of sort of homophobic attitudes. Yeah, in Newcastle.
And I love
I'm not knocking the north, but as I saw it down here also, but I just couldn't fucking understand. I can't get my head around that. I can't get my head around people would subjugate and sort of hurt someone because.
Because my friend, one of my close friends, he got infected when his virginity, whatever it was, in 1984, and basically he got quarantined for 6 months behind a locked door.
Just like
and he basically escaped out of a fire exit with a couple of the other patients to get a haircut. And back when they quarantined you had to wear like a biohazard tag, and it fell. He had it up, but it fell down, and the barber saw it, and then he secretly called the police, and then the armed police turned up at the barber's to escort him back to the incubation. Off Alexa. Oh, sorry, that's my Alexa.
Alexa's just joining the conversation.
Yeah, she likes to have the last word.
We'll accept any new members.
Alexa wants to join Geeks.
The CIA's listening in again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very.
But it just blew me away. I mean,
yeah, for the performances was fantastic.
And to mirror the whole corona subjects as well. I mean, I think HIV testing has increased by 70% as a result of this program in I think it was Dean Street in Soho.
That's interesting.
So I would also say, if you're, yes, they do home testing kits, and also they're open now even during COVID, and you can get a HPV vaccination there as well. So anyone's listening and you want to get tested, then go and do it. I recommend it. Auntie Craig's finished now.
Can't believe it.
My opening thoughts, blew my mind, and it made I ran out of fucking tissues with this one.
And not for the good reasons either. I
put Naughty boy. After.
Yeah. We'll go over to Ethan and then back to me. Go on, Ethan.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I mean, what it's one of those dramas which I hardly watch a lot of dramas these days, but when I watch a drama, yeah, it's always a good one, thankfully. But this one was a very, very, very good one. It was a great one. And it actually did. I actually vividly remember when I was a kid, back in the early 90s, where there was still talk of AIDS. Freddie Mercury, who passed away of AIDS. And of course, my mum's uncle, my great uncle, who was a fantastic guy, a lovely guy, he unfortunately passed away of AIDS. And it was a shame because, like, then he never told anyone. He only told certain people that he was gay, bless him. And my mum and dad always raised me to, like, you know, don't be like those people, you know, everybody's good. And I've got loads of friends who are gay, bisexual, lesbian, whatever, and they're great people. I love them to pieces. I love them with all my heart because they're so lovely. But to see what they all went through in this is so feckin' hard hitting, you know, with their families chucking them out saying, oh, just go, they get disowned, and all they had was each other. And to see this through Russell's eyes, because that's what it is, it's from his own experience. And he got actors who actually are gay, makes it more authentic. It makes it more raw, but it makes it more emotional and powerful. And he's done a great job. And I know he'll be proud of this. And you know, just from the first episode, I was invested with these characters like Neil Patrick Harris. You had loads of great actors in this, from Neil Patrick Harris, Stephen Fry, just hundreds of great cameos and stuff, but Neil Patrick Harris, who played a wonderful English guy, and he actually did remind me of an old friend of mine, like the way he talked and like how nice he was. He was so lovely and friendly and so kind. And then the next thing you know, he's one of the first ones who gets it. And it's just awful when you see what they all went through. And it actually scared me. The last bits of episode 1 where Colin goes to see him, it actually did scare me, because as soon as the nurse said, wait there, well, why? Put these on. And the poor kid's putting these gloves and masks and everything. I thought, Jesus Christ, it's like coronavirus, which it was. It's so relatable, a virus that no one knew about. They thought it would infect everybody or something. So they had all this stuff. And poor Neil Patrick Harris's character is alone in this bedroom. It was bloody heart-wrenching. And of course, that becomes the theme where they say, where's his mum's mum? And that, of course, when you, as the show, you think, oh, he's just gone home. But as it progresses, that's the scary part, when you hear someone's gone home, because you're thinking, oh shit, not him. You get so invested with the characters that when they do get it, it's families and stuff like that, and their friends, and it captures all that style of the 80s perfectly. Like I said, the soundtrack was great, the setting and all that, from all the little bits, like even like they had that poster of Highlander in the kitchen where they were having breakfast. They got a picture of that old Highlander movie. It really felt so authentic. And I agree with Connor with Keely Hawes. I mean, it's so strange because I thought she's going to be such a lovely mum, but by episode 5, that facade just falls. And poor Richie, who gives a great speech at the end where he says, I'll get to favorite moments in a minute, but that heart, it really touched me when he says, like, all the fun he had, I'll see them with someone, I'll go, oh, that's nice, but I got to be with him, but he didn't get to see his friends. I mean, it was sad. It is a very hard-hitting show, and I hope it wins loads of awards, but it was a nice different show to watch, because it just made me think of all my friends who are gay, who lived through that, because I've got friends who are like in their 40s or early 50s who were picked on and went through all that hell, and they've lost people. Yep. And yeah, did you just wave there? Yeah. Yeah, you as well. Yeah, one of my best friends, Lee, who's, gay. I've got loads of friends who've been through all that and stuff like that, but I love all of them, Lee included, and, you have my highest respects, big time. Person who is gay and stuff like that, this is a great show, and I think everybody should watch it. So what a seriously powerful show, which is well talked about and deservedly so. And, it puts every gay person in the spotlight and say just how awesome you all are. You're all fucking fantastic. And that's my opening thoughts.
Thank you, Ethan. Well, out of the people that are in this cast today, me, Susan, and David, we live through this. I'm the young. Me and Susan are roughly around the same age. David's a little bit older, but just a little bit older.
I'm older than you, Lee.
Just slightly. But what I'm saying is, HIV/AIDS in the 80s, it was something new. It was something they didn't know anything about. Well, they knew something. There was myths about it. It was rife in America. It was really rife in America. That was roughly around about late 70s, I would say, 77 onwards, something like that. But it sort of took hold of the UK in the 80s. And I only got to know about this, the HIV/AIDS thing, in 1985. I was 15 at the time. It was, No, it was mentioned in the drama. Rock Hudson, the Hollywood actor, heartthrob, died of AIDS, and it was on the news and it was everything. I thought, oh right, that's the first I'd heard of it. And then, as the years went by in the 80s, that AIDS, it was bang, the advert with John Hurt in 1987, I think it was. It was just getting worse and worse, and the hatred, the homophobia, it was rife. It really was. And it's still around today. It is still around today. I don't think it's as bad as it was back then, but it's still alive and present. And watching this drama, it really, really hit home. Russell T Davies knows how to pull at your heartstrings. He knows what to write about, and as Connor said, the characters in this were was stories from what his friends had gone through, and I think he said the character Colin, was based on one of his ex-boyfriends, I think it was. But you say he knows how to write. He knows how to write characters. He knows how to write gay characters. He's a gay man, of course he does. And he's done it so well in the past. Queer as Folk, Bob and Rose. He just knows how to do it. And this, I was quite surprised. I thought, well, he hasn't written something like this for a while. I'll sit down and watch it. And God, I was blown away. And yeah, I was in tears. I was in rapture of enjoyment, because it's funny as well. In places, it is funny as well. And you do feel for the characters. And it's a hard one, this, isn't it? The subject of what the drama's about. But we're having a review of this, and at the end of it, we're going to have to score this. You know what I mean? But as Craig said, testing these days is a lot simpler and easier than those characters in the drama went through back in the 80s. You saw the tension of them sat there waiting, going for the test, waiting for the results.
And how would they get the result as well? Because they didn't have mobiles.
No.
If they sent a letter, anyone could have read that letter, and then it would have blacklisted them and God knows what.
Infinite.
Exactly. You lose your job, you could lose your family, you could lose your friends, just because
fascism, man.
Sexual orientation. And also as well, the way the government at the time, thank you, Mrs. Thatcher, with clause 28, which was mentioned in this drama, clause 28, removing any homosexual tendency or reference in any literature or anything. She was a dictator.
She was a fascist.
Yes, she was. People always laugh at me when I go about Thatcher, but I was only a teenager at the time, but I saw the effects of what she did to this country.
Yes.
She was a bitch.
Yep. It's made me just think of a line I was thinking of this morning. It's quick to human beings are quick to judge, but slow on empathy.
Yeah. But it brought back a lot of, because the year it was set, 80s, it's my era. They always say you always go back to your best years as when you was a teenager.
Sure.
And for me, it was the 80s, and the soundtrack brought so many memories back. And just watching this, I was in tears. But going back to the testing, it is so simple now. You can apply online, as I said, I showed you earlier. There you are, just free HIV kit. you know,
Dean Street in Soho, they're also offering PrEP services as well, free on the NHS, which basically prevents you from getting HIV during sex.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
it's weird how the balance is now. You can take a pill to stop you getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dubralvi in the United States, and it's the only thing is it's not recommended for people who are assigned female at birth, but all the other people are open to take that to prepare and to prevent infection. It's good. It's good medicine.
But as it said, you can live with it now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was a death sentence. You can live with it. You just have to be on medication for the rest of your life. And a lot of people have got it and living with it because due to medication, they've prolonged their life. And there's quite a few famous people who've got it now. For the English people out there, Holly Johnson, Frank goes, he's lived with it for. He got diagnosed with it on the day Freddie Mercury died.
Wow.
Andy Bell from Erasure, he's been living with it for years, and he's doing fine. It's but you've got to, test, play safe. Come on,
yeah. Be sensible. Yeah.
Be sensible. But as I say, go online. You can get free testing kits and do it yourself instead of going, like they did in the program, crapping themselves.
It's almost like anything you like, anything that's enjoyable in this world is reprimanded. How do we end up with this reality? There's so many other great ones.
Also, we've got a good mixture in this cast. We've got a good mixture of straight, gay. What would you class yourself now, Susan?
I don't really know. I mean, I used to be a lesbian. Now I'm heterosexual. I don't really.
You're just a little bit greedy.
I don't really know where I fall. I am definitely an ally, and like I said, I feel really connected to Jill in this because
she was lovely.
My friend Jimmy Lee passed away in 87, and he was the first person that I knew. But by the time I had finished university, I'd seen the AIDS quilt, and I'd sewn bits for the AIDS quilt, for 15, 20 people. And then, there was so many people that I knew that I sat with all the way through their disease into their later moments and final moments. If I missed them, I felt really bad, but the weight of that is still on me to this day. COVID brought a lot of that back, and the fact that Anthony Fauci is the head of the National Institute of Health here, and the National Institute of Infectious Disease. He started his work. He was the biggest scientist involved with and doctor involved with fighting the AIDS crisis in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And so the man has been around. He's fought a ton of viruses. So when he was headed, and then the way Trump made him shut up about stuff, it broke his heart. I mean, really, he was in despair a lot last 4 years or the last year. He was, and now he feels released and free to speak cleanly and plainly about first of all about coronavirus, but second of all about HIV and AIDS, and to remove that stigma. I mean, when I was in, when I was in, I guess it must have been in the early 90s, there was a man who was basically taken away from the bar and beaten to death and crucified and laid on a fence post in Wyoming named Matthew Shepard. And I mean, that was the most brutal homophobic violence that went on in Wyoming.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so having met his mother, having met the man who pastored at that university at the time, that was really incredible and intense. And so yeah, I mean, I live in a state of grief for people I've known since forever. But I do know, I agree with Lee that there are ways people have survived it. I know people who've had it and they're persisting, and they're living with this, and they're surviving it, and they've survived it since the late 80s. So this can be a survivable virus at this point, thank God, because I mean, that quilt is so huge. It covers, I mean, it would literally cover the square miles of my city, like 2.5 miles by 3 miles of people who've passed away from AIDS. And so, but the television show, It's a Sin, it takes its name from Pet Shop Boys, all these fantastic people, and the fact that it's British. I mean, to me, like I grew up idolizing Boy George. I grew up idolizing Duran Duran, but I really grew up idolizing a lot of the trans people in the UK. They were all my favorites and all my heroes, and this is just like some of these boys just were really amazing drag queens, and some of them were really, the best people are and then, you know, when I was in the UK in the 90s, party, you know, I used to pick up the magazine, The Gay Scene, and or was it Gay Times? Anyway, and run around London with that, and it was great fun. You know, there's so much great stuff about the UK in this. I mean, it's very nation, like part of the nation. It's like in the center of it is this community that is so amazing. So anyway, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I don't have any favorite moments, but I just told you a lot of my life story. And so I'm just going to pass it back to you because I don't really need to spend any more time talking.
And you know what? I can't remember the question now. Past it. Well, can we do favorite moment? Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, favorite moments or things what you loved about this. We'll go Connor.
Yeah, I know. I like her. That's not to debate now, but I did like the Margaret Thatcher scene when Roscoe said that he pissed in the tea. Yeah, when he pissed in the tea. Yeah. You gotta love that. That's I wish I could do that to Boris Johnson, honestly. But I'd love to see that twat drink my own piss.
Drink my urine. Drink my urine.
I think he's fucking worse than Thatcher, believe me. At least Thatcher actually had a brain, even though she didn't quite use she didn't use it always for the right reasons.
I don't think she was human, Connor.
She was born in Grantham, so I don't know. She probably made it.
Yeah, for Christ.
Born of Satan.
Spawn of Satan.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the soundtrack. It got me listening. I mean, I've always been a fan of 80s music, but it's got me listening to people like Bronski Beat and the Communards and Pet Shop Boys. I mean, you know,
Sorry, they used to rehearse in South Kensington, Communards, you know. And at the time I was living in Islington, but we were rehearsing with a band. I had a rehearsal place down that way. We used to hear them all the time, and that guy's voice, man, he was genius. Jimmy Savile, you know, so beautiful.
Yeah.
I
remember
Never Can Say Goodbye is my favorite song.
Oh,
by
yeah.
him.
Never
Love
can
that song.
say goodbye, Lord.
Love that song. I love that song.
I remember it was after I finished the series, but I remember going back and because Small Town Boy plays over the credits in episode 1, and I was thinking, I've heard that song before. I want to know what it is. And
There's
then
a 12-inch version of that on YouTube that's amazing.
All right.
I remember I put it in the chat, and immediately Lee got it. So I was pleased about that.
I want that song at my funeral.
Yeah. Do ding 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 ding.
Yeah, I mean, the music was just incredible. The soundtracks, it's actually on Spotify, the whole soundtrack.
Years and years did a acapella.
Yeah, years and years
great.
an acapella version of "It's a Sin" as well, which is
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but what the question was, because I watched it and I can't remember, but was "It's a Sin" by the Pet Shop Boys in it?
Yeah, you know when he says, "Hit me with them lasers, please."
Well, that's Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Was it Frankie Goes to Hollywood? That
I think so, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, because I thought that's when "It's a Sin" played.
It definitely played. I'm sure
Yeah, it definitely was in. I think maybe it was more.
It was definitely in it. Yeah, it's on the soundtrack.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the party scenes as well, like that scene that I've just mentioned there, were fantastic. That's where
an 80s party.
Ollie Alexander is a great actor. He's a great singer. I love Years and Years. I want to see them live. In fact, everyone in my house loves Years and Years. Their song "King" is one of my all-time favorite.
Yes,
songs.
Me too. Love it.
Yeah, that's an incredible. So, and to be honest, I didn't actually know until Lee and I think it was Phil Newman had the conversation. Ollie Alexander started out as an actor before he was a singer. So he'd been in loads of stuff before, but he's a great actor. He's going to get a lot of roles after this, I think. And yeah, he's become a bit of a gay icon. I remember about 2 weeks ago on TikTok, he was on TikTok live with Ian McKellen.
He's now a diva, apparently. They've classed him as a diva.
You're diva.
Yeah, apparently. He was on a list of divas. I was like, oh.
That's what fame does, I guess, as well.
That's it. Fame.
I kind of agree, though, with Lee that it's not really a show where you pick favourite moments because it's grim. It's all this flashy kind of glitzy neon facade, but underneath it, it's really grim.
Harrowing.
There's a death in every episode.
Yeah.
And every moment is just full of grief and horror, and you know,
like Doctor Who.
Not as bad. It's not as bad as Doctor Who.
It's not as bad as Doctor
Who. I remember once when I was working in Virgin Megastore, and I told this girl that I was into Doctor Who, and then I mean this is back in going back 20 or more years, and she said, "I'm not really into watching people get tortured to death, or in grim ways." That's what she described it as to me. I was thinking, she's actually got a point though. I think that's why I watch it.
He was referring to Vengeance on Pharaohs.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness gracious.
To be honest, actually, that's just
better than an acid bath, you know what I mean?
It's really quite incredible that Russell T Davies chose the moment that the main character found out he might have AIDS and HIV to be while he's filming a scene for an episode of Doctor Who.
Oh,
See, this is where I get confused, right? Because if it's based on Dursley McLinden from Remembrance of the Daleks, how come they chose the Resurrection of the Daleks scene? Because then I thought maybe that was the guy where the acid melts him in Resurrect. I thought, is that the real guy? But then no. Someone said, no, it's the guy from Remembrance of the Daleks.
I think Russell T Davies took little bits from here, little bits
Yeah,
from there.
I think
Yeah,
I couldn't figure it out either. I was like, why is this that looks like Blake Seven being interposed with Doctor Who? I just was like, I couldn't sort
That was my
out.
favorite moment of the whole series.
Blake's
Yeah,
I was like, yes,
I remember when it came on, and that was great how it looks like the old screens, like the small square before we got widescreen. And I was watching it thinking, why does it look like Doctor Who? Is this meant to be Doctor Who? And boom, the Daleks come in. And I thought, oh, yes! And I got
Question is about that scene with the Doctor Who scene. Did that happen, or was he dreaming it?
I think it happened.
Because he was reaching for stardom, wasn't he? He was dreaming of stardom all the time.
Yeah.
Never made it big time.
But back then, I'm
But
sure.
some of the extras at Doctor Who never made it big time either.
Did anyone get?
I mean, there were a ton of extras. There were tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of extras.
Did anyone get another Doctor Who reference?
Yeah, but that scene with the thing is, that scene happened, and then he sort of was in bed.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it could have been a dream.
Your interpretation.
He was getting a bit thingy with looking on the back, wasn't he, for cancer and stuff like that. He was getting paranoid. He was getting paranoid. So was he dreaming this about people saying there's something wrong with your face?
Can someone clear this up about Colin as well? Like, was Colin actually having a good time with that flatmate, or was that sexual assault? Because I was really confused.
I was
thinking,
yeah, because I was thinking,
I think that's what disturbed.
Attraction, or is it sexual assault?
Yeah.
Because when he grabbed the light, he just smashed it on the floor, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
So that made me think that was sexual violence. I think that's what affected me as well.
Yeah, or maybe.
I think that's what makes that scene a bit more darker as well.
Yeah. Well, the same life was.
I'll tell you what, as well. That the little greeting that they have, that has proper resonated with a lot of people. That's really kind of blown up. Whenever it's a sin is mentioned now, that one word is the first thing mentioned. I can't believe that one little kind of scene, it was used throughout the whole series, but one little scene just it stuck with people. Did that little
The catchphrase.
little catchphrase.
Yeah.
And the mum was wearing a Tom Baker scarf. I don't know if anyone noticed.
Yeah.
She thought she was the fourth Doctor when he was being a diva.
But
he just couldn't help it, could he, Russell? Just like, I've got to put a Doctor Who in there. I've got to put a Doctor Who there.
I didn't know that Jill, the real life Jill, was actually in It's a Sin. I had no idea.
Yes,
she was Jill's mum.
That must have been so. It must have been so very emotional for us. Could you imagine living your life and then they've recreated your past?
Yeah.
Imagine being back in the Pink Palace and they've just recreated it from scratch. That would be such a surreal thing.
I didn't know that she was in it. What did you guys think about the portrayal of like Mr. Hart by Nicholas Bain? Was that a bit with Nal and I?
You got to clean.
Oh my God! He plays a predatory paedophile very well.
Yeah, genuinely creepy.
Yeah, but he got his comeuppance. He got caught.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he got his comeuppance in.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest scenes, actually. Yeah, when he got fucking found in that town hall or whatever it was.
Yeah. Just to see him taken away in his face, just. I got it in the end, son.
You know who he looked a bit like, and I'm not sure if this was intentional or not. What's his name? Cyril
Smith.
Yeah. The fat bastard politician.
Yes.
Lib Dem that got caught out for paedophilia.
Yeah. What a
He
hypocrite.
wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't as.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked a bit like him. I don't know if that was intentional.
Pizza the Hut. Jabba the Hut.
Do you know what one of my favorite scenes? I think Russell T Davies says he's basically all right. I know he's talking about the gay aspects of stuff and HIV. But he does this perfect thing of talking about real issues and gender inequality. But the way that that Jill was mixed race, and then the reaction of the parents when she came to the house, as if when they thought that she was his girlfriend, and their reaction, it's just perfectly written. The way he touches upon stuff like that, almost.
Do you know that you thought, you know, the father with his attitude towards her, assuming she was from another country, you assumed that his father would be the bad guy.
Yeah, the role reversal was a brilliant.
Yeah, that was
at the end when she started abusing the husband. I mean, that was brilliant because it also touches upon, you know, how women have had to put on this persona of being the good housewife with the penny on and making the tea and the sandwiches, and no, she's beating the husband at home, and she's the one wearing the trousers, sort of thing. I like that little mix up.
The father was the one with the heart.
Yeah.
And it's so, and Karen, it's an open floor. Just come on.
I liked Richie's kind of self-destruction as well when he went to the pub and then he got the guy that was it from his school?
That was.
Then they went down to the beach, didn't they, or something? And he tried to make a
be more than friendly.
He was a good character. I really liked him because, of course, he was straight, but he knew Richie was gay and he accepted it. He was like that one little spark of light to say, "Look, I'm straight. but I'm not like everybody else right now.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it, mate." He was such a lovely character, and how he was quite supportive to him. And that was a really good bit with Ollie as soon as he got out the car. And he said, "I'll never be able to do it." So he does it now in front of him doing the ballet.
Yeah.
And
that was the dying swan from the Nutcracker.
His mate smiles at him. His mate smiles at him and says, you know, like internally saying, "Well done, you get to do ballet for me." I thought that was just so hot. Really sweet.
There is heartbreaking stuff, but there is some funny bits in this as well, especially when Richie's having his first sexual time with Ash. I think you need a wash. I think you need to.
And is it Tosco?
Roscoe over there when he come down the stairs and
he says, "Stress, you'll find me at #1 Piss Off Avenue."
That was brilliant. That was fantastic. That was one of the best.
Brilliant.
Storming down the street in the rain.
Character. Because, like you said, you got Richie, which introduces him, so you know about him, and then Roscoe, which, when they say, "Oh, you'll be taken back to your country, they'll burn you," it sounds so fucking barbaric. And he just goes, "Right," and then they're going like, "What's he doing upstairs?" Comes in. As you can see, I'll be like, "Piss Off Avenue, fuck you." And it was brilliant. It was so
on the ground becoming Roscoe. No, I do a Doctor Who Roscoe. Piss Off Avenue. Check, please. Is that my TARDIS? You know, I'm working on the script at the moment. It's a bit shite, but
but yeah, there was even I funny bits as well. I actually did quite like these little weird surreal moments where, like, even Ollie, where they talk about AIDS. I can't remember. Was it episode 2 when he's saying like, and suddenly he's talking to the audience, going, "Some say it comes from this. Some say it's from space. Some bits," and it shows like the rock, some say it's an asteroid. Hey, I don't believe it. And that was a really good, funny bit with all the theories they were saying. They were saying it was a weapon created, it was this and that. But that was a really good bit and very well acted from Ollie. Like how it transitions from the pub to his mates while he's talking to the audience and kissing the guy saying, "See, I don't believe it. Mwah. See, I don't believe it. Mwah. I don't believe it." It was brilliant.
Really
that was a
fun. That's right. you need people like that to sort of like take the fear level down, because at the moment we're living through this fear factor. Fear will kill us more than the actual virus. So, you know, it's like you need strong-minded people who would say, listen, let's not get too subjective. Let's look at this objectively, you know. And that's what it's about. But
I'm sure you have your jab next
I'm
week.
going to go for my jab.
You'll be
Yeah.
all
Maybe when I get the jab, I'll probably turn into a proper Geordie.
Jab walking.
Wait,
I got my jab this week, or a week ago Thursday, and
is your arm in hurting?
my
David,
arm hurts, but my blood sugar is way high right now.
I've got my second one.
I
That's
got
me
the
got-
Johnson and Johnson, so
Yeah,
I
I'll be
only
well
had to
wired.
do one shot.
Yeah.
Stay off the Haribo. David's going to give a. He's going to now promise us that he's going to get jabbed next week, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to jab of the hood.
Good. I'll put it on record.
Put it on record now, so I've got to go for the jab.
Don't worry, it's only a small prick.
It's only a small prick. That's what the doctor said to me, you know.
Mine was a really cold one as well.
Oh, now you're freaking us out, you know.
Oh, was it now? Oh,
Yeah. Hold your hand.
Hold me hand. Yes.
Going back
to Roscoe. I'm going to put down as Roscoe in a dress and say, jab me. Or something like that.
Everybody waiting. What?
Yeah, what?
Hello?
Well, you expected this because of the crossover between coronavirus and HIV.
Yeah.
You expected this.
Going back to the TV show.
Oh,
Hold on.
Oh, Lee's fell off
Please.
the
Run away.
Piers Morgan.
Yes, come back.
Here's
Yes.
Alex Beresford.
Yes, Morgan.
Give a statement for the royal family.
Go on, say something about Meghan Markle.
It showed you how society and families hid the people away as well, from the character of Gloria.
Gloria.
They hid him away. He hid away,
Gloria Hunniford.
and then the family got hold of him and hid him away and took him home to Scotland.
And then burnt his stuff.
Oh, bloody
Yeah.
hell, man.
And that's what happened, though. It
This
was.
is-
You don't speak about it. Please don't speak. Don't speak about it. Hide it away. It's disgusting.
Did
It's sad.
Lee, do you know what? When my friend, he said he felt sorry for his landlady because every time he went back to collect something, they had to burn and incinerate anything he touched in the house. And there was literally bonfires on in the garden. And he was like, he felt so ashamed for the poor landlady because she was really old. And
The alien from the land, yeah. No, and
crazy.
There was shame. It was a time of people. There was shaming people, and it's totally. It was out of order.
or Barrack.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, Barry.
and because like the scene that Connor's referenced a couple of times in this podcast is that scene at the end where Jill is confronting his Richie's mom, is that you know, it's that shame that causes it to spread. I mean, people's shame is as much of a spreader, a super spreading event as
It was shame, and it was also ignorance.
Yeah. Ignorant.
That
is
scene
bliss.
was amazing though at the end between the mum and Jill on the pier.
It's a pity. Keely Hawes wasn't in this a lot. You know, she was first episode, a few scenes in between, then the last episode. I mean, she came into an element in the last episode. It's a shame she wasn't in it more.
Yeah.
But you had to give time for everybody, all the other characters. But I agree. She's a powerful actress.
I'd love to find out what the family thought of. You know, I'd really love to find out their feedback.
Yeah.
Richie's family. I'm just being a nosy Parker, but just wanna, you know.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
It's a
You know.
bit disturbing.
I think one of the best scenes actually that
So,
no one's mentioned.
Have we
Sorry,
Go on.
I think one of the best scenes that no one's actually mentioned is when the creepy old guy makes a move on Colin in the hotel room, and you don't need to say a word, and he looks down at the newspaper, and he clicks on to what might be happening, and that Colin has AIDS, and now he just backs out the room.
Yes,
that is unbelievable. That's perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Yeah,
how you play a scene.
Yeah, but Colin didn't know he had it.
No, but he
bringing those
thought
for Jill.
the creepy
Yeah,
old guy thought that he did.
The suggestion.
Yeah,
Gay news saved his life.
Yeah, exactly.
That came out of the blue when Colin said Colin had it. I'm like, what? When and where? You know.
Yeah, you keep thinking where, when, and then it's like, and Paul, he's having like well, they said it was like getting senile, and he says, football shirt. What? Football shirt. Him. And they go, football shirt, what do you mean? And then they go, I guess we'll never find out who it was. And when the mum comes in, you go, fuck.
Yeah. But
you work it out. Then it all clicks and you go, oh no.
I mean, to me, that scene, there was that scene with Colin was so powerful, where he just started masturbating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that was really sad.
He didn't know what he was doing. And the scene at the end where Jill just goes and sits with the patients.
Oh yeah, that guy who was alone at the end.
Oh yeah, she was an angel. That
was brilliant.
Angel.
Ending.
An angel.
Sort of got me that as well, but
I mean, I cry when I see E.T. in an incubation chamber. So
yeah, well, it's one of them movies that just provokes a
too much
reaction.
for me. Like,
I mean,
I was just an emotional mess.
For once in my geeks time, I'm going to take back a comment because you've just brought that scene up now, and I'm going to say that she can actually act.
That's what I was saying.
No! Take it back. Take it back.
Yeah, because that scene is just
beautiful.
You can't knock a character, even though it's written for the character. You can't knock a character when their character does something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all actors, aren't we? You know, we have to put on a performance every day. You know, we all have to put a performance on every day. You know, so but these people just seem to sort of like they lock onto emotions and what say like a 1,000-yard stare, and they just can display emotion without saying words. Sometimes this is really fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Lee. He's auditioning for This Is England right now.
Yeah.
This Is England's already been done.
No, I guess no one that has seen This Is England will get that reference.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen This Is England. I've seen it.
I may audition for series 4 of Brassic.
Brasses.
You can tell we're all totally mad in England. So you know, the English are the maddest people on the planet, I think.
So
apparently,
do we
allegedly?
Do we need to say any more before we?
I'll just say definitely.
He does.
Definitely, maybe.
Shall we go to final say?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Ethan.
Well, it's simple, really. You know, 10 out of 10 for this show and every gay person I know and stuff. You know, you guys are wonderful. You've got my highest respects. 10 out of 10 for this absolutely well put together show, and one of the most powerful dramas we've ever had in a long, long time.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, big time.
Susan.
Yeah, I'll give it a solid gold, platinum, star shine, gold lame, you know, kinky boots wearing 20 out of 10. You know, it was it made me laugh, it made me cry, it moved me deeply, it changed it changed my focus from COVID to HIV, and that is on the level it's pretty brilliant for that, and the show deserves a ton of awards, and I just hope that it gets all that it deserves. And I really, really someday would like to meet Russell T Davies and tell him what a brilliant guy he is. I mean, yeah, I can't say enough good things about what he's done. One of my goals in life. Back over to you.
Thank you, Susan. Craig and David.
Well, I was just thinking, it's a sin. I tell you what's a sin: war, not love.
Mm.
And this is about love. This is about love, man. Peace and love. And I'll give it a big 10 out of kinky boots. 10 kinky boots. Yeah.
I know what David's going to be looking up later.
Yeah, I'm going to.
So this had over 18 million viewers. It was record breaking for Channel 4. Bring on the awards. That's what I say.
Yep, like Connor said, it's going to win.
Yeah, I'll give this 10 Lars out of 10. It's got to be a big fat 10.
You need AIDS.
And Connor.
I mean, the best drama on TV is back next Sunday, so I'm not sure if it will be the best drama of the year, but it gets 10 out of 10 from me, and it's better than Tenet.
It's not the only way.
It's essentially being directed by Christopher Nolan.
What did you just say? I can't hear you over the cognitive dissonance there, Connor.
He said it was better than Tenet.
What the hell?
Mind blown.
Yeah, Tenet. Change it. It's a sin too. It's a tenant.
So it's whose go is it now? It's mine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it's a 10. It's 10 pink palaces out of 10.
Hey!
10.
It's a full house.
It's a full house.
Not often we get a full house.
Bingo.
So we have agreed on this, ladies and gentlemen, that
and you lads, I would live in a commune, a fun flat with you guys.
Yeah,
that would be a riot. That would be a laugh freaking riot.
Susan, I'd probably do your head in after 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll probably do my own. I was
going to say, me, you'll be in the asylum after talking to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go in the toilet after Connor.
Would we have to get NHS approval because it'd be an asylum?
Yes. We all have to get an NHS approval before I move in with you guys.
Yeah.
And I'll be directed by Christopher Nolan. Come this way. Direct me.
So that's it. That's our little, well, not
still recording.
We haven't finished yet. It's not our.
I'll tell you what was a sin. That fucking Prince, what's his face, and Meghan Markle interview. That was a sin.
Yeah.
That was, but we'll discuss that afterwards.
I think we should review that.
Please.
We should do A New Hope was Tenet. Empire Strikes Back was It's a Sin.
Yeah.
And the Meghan and Harry interview was Return of the Jedi.
Sometime
or a remake of Spartacus with
Sometimes
I'm Spartacus or something like that.
Anyways, I'm drawing this to a close. So
sorry, guys.
I bet Lee's got a Spartacus on Blu-ray.
I love Spartacus.
I'd like to thank
My mum does.
I'd like to thank Craig and David and
My mum
Con.
likes seeing all the jobs.
I'd just like to say it's been really enjoyable fun tonight, meeting all you lovely lads and lasses.
And I'd like to say, Lee, thank you so much for having me again.
Yes.
I've never
No,
had
it's been good fun. It's been good. It's been a very we went from like psychological, metaphysical to laughter to that's life, isn't it? That's how life should be, you know.
Is it my go now?
Can I be directed by Christopher Nolan?
Every time Lee speaks, we've got to speak over him, okay, everybody?
That's how this group used to act. I've seen that show before a bunch of times. That's all you can tell.
Wasn't invited.
I'll tell you what, I'll also give a 10 out of 10 this week. Piers Morgan walking off breakfast TV.
All right, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The best thing since Brexit.
That was
Piers-
life changing. That's
I
By
think
Christopher
that
Nolan.
when shows like this happen, all the fascists go running.
And they should have shot him with a fucking horse dart on the way out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, tranquilizer. So he walked
Shot
out
him.
wobbling, you know, something like that, you know. So,
Is it my go now again?
yes.
Oh, thank you.
We'd stop eating sugar, we promise.
Anyways,
This is on acid.
Hey, what's that?
thank you guys for talking. It's a thing because it was a hard-hitting drama, and we made light of it, but we also had some deep discussion here.
Are you
And
kidding? We barely bloody talked about it.
Yeah, we have talked about it. We agreed it was fucking fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As Chris Eccleston would said when he's got Tourette's.
Yeah. Please, you guys out there, give us a like, leave a comment.
Maybe stand there with that Oscar going, the only sin is like I didn't get this earlier. Or something like that. You know?
If you want to join us, if you want to join this group, forget that. Anyways, until next time,
It's a shin.
Yeah. It's,
please be safe. No, safe sex. Well, at the moment you can't, but you know.
I look like Timmy Mallet.
And get tested.
I'm Timmy Mallet.
Get
It's a
tested.
sin.
Test
Yeah,
for
yeah,
COVID,
get
test for
tested.
AIDS, test for
Yeah.
everything you
Tested and you know, safe sex,
Yes.
and then you know, after that, you know,
Well, if you
Like-
get the form,
like-
age,
Bob's your uncle.
address, sex, yes, please. You have to tick all the boxes, you know? Right.
is that tick all the boxes or tickle the boxes?
Tickle the boxes. Tickle the boxes there, you know.
Tickle the boxes.
I would like to know
Sorry,
Oh,
I've been eating fruit passes.
how ma-
Okay,
What-
them again.
one thing that like I didn't even know was possible was there was a particular sex scene in this show where
you're gonna ask me and Craig now, aren't you?
Richie was taking it standing up from
Yeah.
in front and behind at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Is it?
That must hurt like a bitch.
Yeah.
New words, the Blackwall Tunnel.
Connor, you're not a man until you've done that.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom there.
You're a pussy until you've done something like that.
Ultimately,
That should be the new meme now. Lee's face is like, you're not a man until you do that.
That could be a t-shirt.
That was one of Lee's best-selling DVDs.
Oh gosh.
This has gone downhill.
Yeah, we've really gone downhill in the last 5 minutes.
We're in the gutter now. We're in the
We're in
We're
the
in the
gutter.
gutter.
But as Oscar Wilde said, all of us are in the
Lee.
gutter. Some of us are looking at the stars.
Press stop, Lee.
Let's say bye bye.
It's the Shins out soon, and it's about people from Nam who
bye.
All share missing kneecaps.
Yeah, missing kneecaps. It's a shin.
Coming to a theatre near you.
Fucking hell.
Get that button.
Oh, shit.
We'll have to let the haters hate now.
At least the aliens are going to land now because there's 5 people on the planet who are funny. Right?
Royal family.
Yeah.
They're all reptilian.
Oh dear.
Craig's had sugar.
Now,
Yeah, no
Susan,
more sugar for
Susan,
me.
when you ring that bell, Alex has got to make you a cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
No, that was for the notifications.
No, it's got a new it's got a new purpose now. Susan. It's a tea bell.
That's right.
For Alex.
Tea bell. Get that kettle on.
Get him in the kitchen, getting the tea.
That's the thing, Sue. English people, whenever there's a problem, you always say, "Put the kettle on." Somebody dad used to say,
Or it's time for tiffin.
"Time for tiffin." That's right. Classic.
I'm definitely a tea leaf.
Yep, I'm a tea leaf. That tea.
Tea leaf. That means
Is
tea
any
leaf.
tea on this spaceship?
Well, I go down to the food bank for the homeless shelter, but they always give me a couple of
of tea.
extra bags for myself. Tuesdays and Fridays.
Life's bearable with a cup of tea. That's a real.
That's what you guys say.
That's right. Without tea, we are nothing.
Make tea, not war.
That's right.
what
And it's
say.
my favorite.
I do not see what the palliative properties of tea are, but I'm pretty sure that it's addressed in some British medical journal, obscure title, but apparently it has the ability to heal the sick and
Yes.
and soothe the
And feed the
soul
poor.
That's
and
right.
change the timbre of conversation and
Lovely. Yeah.
make things less uncomfortable, which apparently is the
does
whole
tea.
social structure.
Always.
Tea does everything apart from cure COVID and HIV.
I'm going to Lord's next year.
Yeah.
Lots of tea. And get
Try
tea.
that. Try go to Lord. That might do it. Pray to the Lord. He might.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say. It's my favorite letter in the alphabet, Sue. Tea.
Oh,
I think Craig's
Tea.
collapsed sugar run.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's collapsing under the weight of this collapsing flan of a podcast, but so good.
Yeah.
I would just like to thank everybody for staying and keep watching until now.
We're coming to Boston next week. A tea party with you. Oh,
Is that the Boston in America or Boston in the UK?
that's a point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Because there is a New York in UK and all, you know.
There's a York.
Yeah.
You mean
So-
there's Newark?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's interestingly, you know, so many names come from England to America. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Also,
we-
Boston upon Spa is a shithole.
Lads, I live in Chelsea, but
true.
but Craig works in Chelsea.
Yeah.
He does indeed.
Mm,
Chelsea's
Mm.
pretty cool.
All right.
I think we've killed it.
I think that's a take.